Welcome to question time. Hi everybody.
Hi, sir.
Right, how are we all?
Good.
Good. Got some questions?
Yes.
Excellent. Right then, who is going to go first? Thank you.
What advice would you give to a new Year 7 student joining Chobham?
My main advice would be probably to enjoy it. I think that's the first and most important thing when you come to a big new secondary school, because there's so much going on. I think early in your career, in a big new secondary school like Chobham, it's really important that you make the most of all of the learning opportunities, that you get to know all of the teachers, going from probably 1 or 2 teachers up to 10 or 11. That's a great opportunity. They're all experts in their subjects. So get to know them, get to enjoy your subjects, really make the most of your learning, get yourself organised. And my second piece of advice would be really make the most of all of the extracurricular opportunities that you have, the clubs, the sports, enrichment, drama, music. There really is so much going on that I think it's a real benefit to our students to have all of those things available, and I really hope that all of you make the most of them. They're 2 little pieces of advice for you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Whitworth, in your opinion, what's the best thing about Chobham Academy?
The best things about Chobham Academy, which I cannot differentiate, I can't separate. Firstly, the students, who are amazing, and every one of you is an individual with lots of qualities, loads of stories to tell, and that's why everyone who works here comes to work in a school, because the students make it. And secondly, because of my job, I don't teach many lessons these days. I like to be around the school, and I always do teach some lessons. I've never not taught lessons, but I don't teach a full timetable anymore because I have other things I have to do. But I think, therefore, a lot of my time is spent with the staff, and so I know what amazing staff we have here. So my 2 things that are best about Chobham, without a doubt, would be the students and the staff. There are other very, very good things about this school. The parents here are fantastic, incredibly helpful, very good company, very supportive, very knowledgeable about you, their children, and about what we need to do to help you. It's a brilliant place to be in. The buildings are great, loads of ground, it's in a fantastic part of London, you look out the window, it's in a great place. So there are lots of other things that are good about Chobham, lots of other reasons why people might want to come here, but my 2 are easy, students and staff. Thank you, it's a good question.
What is the most difficult part of your job?
Very good question. I think, let me go back a bit. Years and years ago, long before I was the head teacher, I heard a head teacher speak, and he gave some advice which I've always remembered, because I think it's really good advice. It applies to students as well. He said, I love my job, and some days are going to work knowing there are things that are going to be difficult and hard. However, there's never a day where there's not lots in my day that I really enjoy. And I kind of get that, so I really enjoy what I do, and the really good bits make up for the times when it's tricky or difficult. So I had a difficult day yesterday because there were lots of things going on. I was very, very busy, there was lots to do, and when you've got too much to do, as you know, as a student, on some days that's difficult to manage, so you have to manage your time really carefully. I suppose I kind of enjoy things that maybe I shouldn't enjoy too much, so I do enjoy having to have difficult conversations with people. I kind of like that. I enjoy working with students who are finding things challenging. I like that too. I even like talking to people when they've got complaints about the school or things that they don't think are going well, because there's never a time where you don't learn something about what you can do better. Even if someone's really unhappy with you, you've got to do your best to listen, and eventually, if you can resolve the situation, there are always things to learn. So I've kind of gone round your question, but to actually answer your question, I think one of the most difficult things has been the last 6 months for me. When we haven't been here, that's been really hard to see our students not at school when they should be, and our staff not here when they should be. That just doesn't feel right. Doesn't seem to me to be as things should be. So I'm very hopeful that that situation has been resolved. Hopefully we're in school now and we can stay in school. But I have to say that most of the time I really enjoy what I do, and even the challenging bits are worth it.
Mr. Whitworth, as an academy, how do you ensure that Year 7s are welcomed to the academy?
We would start very early. As soon as students were offered a place, which is in about March, we get in touch with them and their families. We provide them with information about the school. We get in touch with your primary schools, where you were last year, and we ask them about you. And if possible, we go and visit you in your primary school. Most primary schools are very happy to let us do that. And then we get you in for a couple of days in the summer term, so you get to know your way around, and we have lots of games and activities to help you find your way around the building and the grounds. So by the time we get to you coming in September, hopefully you're fairly familiar with Chobham. Does that answer your question? Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mr. Whitworth, what is your most favourite and rewarding thing about being the principal?
I suppose, it could be watching how well students achieve. That's great. Watching you go through the school, achieve all of the sporting, social, the clubs you do, the certificates you win, the house points you win, the sports days. That's all great. And then eventually your examination results, then you go off to university or college. That's very rewarding. It could be setting up systems in the school that work well, projects that work well. But I suppose, actually, if I'm being truthful, it's just being here. I like being on lunch duty. I like walking around the school. I like doing this. I probably enjoy doing this just as much, if not a bit more, than I enjoy results days. It's just being with you in a way that's natural and part of our kind of daily school life. So it's the day-to-day. It's everything we do every day that I enjoy most. Does that answer your question? Does that make sense? Excellent. Thank you.
What does the ideal Chobham student look like?
I don't think there is such a thing as the ideal Chobham student. Look around this room. You're all amazing, but you're all very, very different. It would be a dull school if everybody behaved and acted in an ideal way. We all have different qualities and strengths. We all have different talents. We all have good days. Most of us have bad days, and that makes the school such a vibrant community. So I don't know that there is an ideal student, and even those students who find school a little more challenging than some others are all part of the Chobham community, and we would not be the same without them. So I think possibly I'm going to twist your question a little bit and say, rather than what is the ideal Chobham student, maybe what characteristics would I like to see in Chobham students, whatever background they come from and however their personality develops. I think I would like to see all Chobham students respecting one another. That's so important, and having time for one another and helping one another out. That makes a massive difference. I'd like to see all Chobham students being curious and ambitious for themselves, and having a high regard for themselves, having what's called high self-esteem, so they believe in themselves and they feel a sense of self-worth. I'd like to see all Chobham students being ambitious for themselves and never underestimating themselves, so that they really aim high wherever they want to go, they're ambitious about getting there, and I suppose I'd like to see all Chobham students being happy. So my ideal Chobham student would certainly, if such a person were to exist, be a happy student, because I think people are at their best when they're happy, and when people do things wrong or they aren't getting on as they might wish to, it's usually because there's some part of them that's not happy. So be happy, I think, would be important too. Thank you, it was an excellent question.